Officially, he died on June 11th, 1962. The FBI told the public that he was swallowed by the treacherous, freezing currents of the San Francisco Bay. Case closed. But exactly 30 years later, a letter arrived at a San Francisco police precinct that turned decades of history upside down. The handwriting matched perfectly. The details were classified. The message? I am still alive, and they helped me disappear. This isn't just a story about a prison break. This is the chronicle of John Anglin, the only man to completely vanish from the face of the earth for 3 decades. For the next 10 minutes, we are going inside the most brilliant escape ever executed, the chilling evidence that the government lied to us, and the dark conspiracy theory suggesting that the world's most wanted fugitive was actually working for the very people trying to catch him. To truly understand the genius or the madness of John Anglin, you have to understand the place they called The Rock. Alcatraz Federal Penitentiary was designed to be the ultimate dead end for society. Built on a desolate island surrounded by freezing water and fatal riptides, it housed America's most unmanageable criminals. Al Capone, Machine Gun Kelly. This is where they sent the men who couldn't be held anywhere else. The guards boasted that escaping Alcatraz was a mathematical impossibility. But John Anglin, along with his brother Clarence and fellow inmate Frank Morris, didn't care about statistics. They spent over 6 months planning an operation so complex it looks like a Hollywood movie. Their tools? Not high-tech gear, but everyday items smuggled from the prison workshops and dining hall. Sharpened spoons, discarded saw blades, and a drill made from the motor of a broken vacuum cleaner. Night after night, while the rest of the prison slept, they took turns chiseling away at the moisture-damaged concrete around the ventilation ducts in their cells. The noise was deafening, but they timed their digging perfectly with the prison's daily music hour, masking the sound of scraping concrete with the blare of accordions and guitars. By early June, the holes were wide enough, but digging out was only 20% of the problem. How do you leave a cell block monitored by armed guards every hour? And how do you cross a deadly mile of open ocean? This is where the story elevates from a simple breakout to pure genius. The men knew that the moment a guard noticed an empty bed, the island would go into total lockdown. They needed a decoy. Using a mixture of soap, toilet paper, toothpaste, and concrete dust, they meticulously sculpted 3 lifelike human heads. They smuggled real hair from the prison barbershop floor and glued it to the scalps. On the night of June 11th, they placed the dummy heads under their blankets, stuffed extra clothes under the sheets to mimic a sleeping body, and slipped through the vents into the utility corridor behind their cells. When the guards walked by during the night shifts, their flashlights swept over what appeared to be 3 sleeping men. The illusion was flawless. While the guards walked their rounds, the trio climbed a network of pipes to the prison roof, cut through a massive ventilation fan, and snuck down the exterior building. They dodged searchlights, scaled a 12-foot barbed wire fence, and made it to the northeastern shore of the island. Waiting for them on the rocks was their ticket to freedom. A makeshift inflatable raft and life vest crafted from over 50 stolen rubber raincoats, vulcanized together using the hot steam pipes in the prison's laundry room. They inflated the raft using a converted accordion-like musical instrument. At roughly 10 p.m., they pushed off into the pitch-black, freezing water. They vanished into the fog. The next morning, Alcatraz erupted into chaos. The dummy heads were discovered, sirens wailed, and the largest military and police manhunt since World War II began. But days turned into weeks, and weeks into years. No bodies were ever recovered. The FBI eventually closed the file, concluding that the laws of physics won, and the men must have drowned. But then, the timeline fractures. Exactly 30 years later, a sealed envelope is dropped off at a local precinct. Inside is a letter. It begins, "My name is John Anglin. I escaped from Alcatraz in June 1962 with my brother Clarence and Frank Morris. We made it, barely." The letter didn't just claim survival, it introduced a terrifying new theory. Anglin claimed that they didn't flee the country. Instead, they were picked up on the shore by an unlisted classified federal agency. The government had realized a devastating truth. If the public found out that 3 bank robbers with spoons and raincoats had broken the most secure prison in the world, the illusion of government invincibility would shatter. According to the theory, the agency offered them a dark deal. They wouldn't go back to prison. Instead, they would be declared dead to the world, given completely new identities, and used as shadow assets. Because of their unmatched ability to see flaws in maximum security, they spend the next 3 decades testing the vulnerabilities of black site military bases, bunkers, and top secret government archives. The perfect criminal minds, working to protect the state. When modern forensic teams and handwriting experts finally analyzed the 30-year anniversary letter, the results sent shockwaves through the community. The handwriting, the syntax, and the unique signature patterns match John Anglin's original prison intake forms with a staggering 99% probability. It wasn't a cheap prank, it was him. In the final paragraphs of the letter, Anglin explained why he was finally breaking his silence. He was over 80 years old, dying of advanced cancer, and needed specialized medical care that his fake identity couldn't provide. He offered a trade. He would surrender himself to federal custody and do a live, televised broadcast explaining exactly how they broke out of Alcatraz, step by step. In return, the government had to pay for his medical treatment and promise no prison time for his surviving brother. The government's official response? Complete, absolute silence. The letter was immediately locked away in classified archives, and federal spokespeople dismissed it as a cruel hoax. But why hide it if it was fake? Why classify a letter from a man who allegedly died in 1962? Did John Anglin die in the freezing waters of the bay? Or did he live out a double life as a ghost in the machine, outsmarting the system for 30 long years? The files remain locked, the witnesses are gone, but the mystery of the one man who broke the rock lives on. What do you think really happened that night? Did they drown, or did they become part of something much bigger? Let me know your theories in the comments below. Hit that like button if this story blew your mind, and subscribe for more deep dives into history's greatest secrets. See you in the next video.